Good evening and welcome to the dungeon here at Richwoods High School. It's game time in the River City. It's a Tuesday night right in the heart of basketball season. And that's when you know that these crosstown rivalries between the Peoria High Lions and the Richwoods Knights are going to heat up. It should be a great one here in the dungeon tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. I'm Jonathan Michael. Alongside me is Gavin Russell. And Gavin, this should be a great game. Both teams 4-2 in the Big 12 Conference, jockeying for position and city pride as well.
Oh, it's going to be a great matchup, John. Anytime two Peoria schools get together, it's always a high-powered battle. The gym is full tonight. Everybody's come out. It's going to be a really exciting matchup.
Certainly, and Gavin, the Peoria High Lions, they're 11-8 right now, but that may be a little not indicative of their record. They've had a lot of close losses so far this year.
They really have, and 11-8 doesn't tell the whole story for the Lions. They've played some really good competition. They've gotten better throughout this season. They're playing their best basketball at the right time and are starting to heat up towards the postseason.
Certainly, and for Richwoods, they are 16-3, one of their best starts in almost a decade, if not more. They're looking for their first 21 season in over 10 years. They're 16-3 right now, and it's a very deep Richwoods team has gotten them a lot of wins. Greg Burnside, one of their guards, said they just want to win, and keep winning, and they've done that so far this year.
They have. They haven't faltered too many times. They've had their struggles a couple of times, but overall, they've been a really, really solid program, John. Will Smith has done a fantastic job. He's a veteran coach, 13th season. He's had some great Knights teams, but this is arguably one of the best.
Should be a great match. The lights are out. You saw the starting lineups being introduced. We'll send it to our sponsors real quick and then come back with live game action here from the dungeon on Clutch Sports IL and CIProud.com.
There's a lot of talk about big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer
Foul right there.
Welcome back into the action here. Sorry, folks. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Our sound was not working, but glad we got that fixed for you. It's been 9-3 Lions here in the early going. Good stops on defensive end for Peoria High. Daquan Brown, you saw him. He was fired up. Hit some of his buckets. He's got 5 so far for Peoria High. And Lions have played great defense on every possession so far. Jumper here from Markel Newsom on Richwoods, up and no good. And now Peoria High out in transition. That's one of their favorite things to do, and that one will be a charge. Credit that one to Newsom. Nice job. He turned it over, but then went back and drew the charge on the other end.
He did. That was a nice job just staying back and being able to take the charge. I know one of the refs out here tonight, Don King, one of the veteran officials in the area, he's not going to let you get away with putting the shoulder down and ramming it in, so got to be able to play disciplined. Although it is a lot of emotion, just got to stay composed.
3 ball from Tavy Smith is good, and he is hot. Coming in off a 31-point outing against Peoria Manual, reigning PJ Star Athlete of the Week. And Peoria High, simply put, just can't let him get going.
You really can't. When he gets on fire shooting the basketball, that's tough to cool off. He can hit just from about anywhere on the floor. Doesn't matter, from 3 in the mid-range. And he will take just about any shot, John. Contested or not, he will be shooting the basketball.
Shooting the basketball for Peoria High right now will be Daquan Brown. After the foul there on Jared Jackson, that is Richwoods' second team foul. First one no good for the junior guard who transferred back to Peoria High after spending his sophomore year over at Limestone last year. Helped the Rockets improve a little bit, but he's back at home here in Peoria and eager to help the Lions break a 10-year streak without any postseason hardware. Almost hard to believe, Gavin.
It's really shocking. I mean, you think about some of their great teams. It's a tough take right there, but Peoria High has been a staple program to the area. They just haven't been able to get over the hump. A lot of credit to a lot of other really good teams in the area, but certainly want to try to get back there this season.
You saw a tough bucket there from Jared Jackson on the second chance on the other end. And Daquan Brown gets Markel Newsom to pick up his second foul, so he'll check out. Coming in for Peoria Richwoods will be Nehemiah Mason, with Newsom saddled with 2 fouls here in the first 5 minutes of game action.
We saw this last week on Tuesday when Richwoods took on Pekin. Jared Jackson had a lot of fouls early in the game, but he turned up 15 points in the fourth quarter, so see if they can get him back in soon.
Brown driving the ball. You can tell he wants to score tonight. Now here it's Myquise Taylor, composed, take to the rack, and he gets it to fall. And we have an official stoppage here. Not quite sure what that was about, but
I believe they're going to say a delay of game warning for kind of hitting the ball there towards the baseline. Refs want to keep this one rolling, John. So do we.
It's been a good contest in the early going. Here's Nick Louderman for 3, and he lets his bench know it. Big 3 off the bench from the junior guard, and Richwoods, they were down a couple possessions early on, but they were back to within 1. And oh boy, buckle in. This is going to be a great matchup here in the dungeon. And throwing it away is Daquan Little, or rather that was LaShawn Stowers for Peoria High, and now Richwoods can take the lead. Saw Taylor there a little frustrated, clapping his hands, saying, guys, let's get it together.
These are the situations you got to be composed. A lot of energy. You want to play. There's a lot to play for in this game. Can't let it get the best of you, though.
Louderman, another 3, no good. Rebounded by Little, and now here comes Myquise Taylor. Throws it up and in, and Peoria High, their lead, has a little bit of more room now, 14-11. Back and forth action here in the first quarter. Again, glad you're with us here on ClutchSportsIL.com. and CIProud.com as well. On the other end, here's Jared Jackson breaking some ankles up and in. The crowd loves that. Put him in the spin cycle. Big bucket there for Richwoods on the scoreboard and also in momentum as well. Here's Brown, he is walloped. physical ball game so far. The energy in this gym, Gavin, is palpable. This place is going to get very, very loud.
It's already getting loud, and both sides are bringing the energy. Peoria High, of course, didn't have to go too far. They traveled well. Richwoods home fans are letting them know fans are just as into it as the players are.
Daquan Brown heads to the line for a pair of free throws. He's got 6 to make that 7 points now early on, his second trip to the line. Trying to see if that foul was called on. I haven't seen any indication on the scoreboard. It looked like that was Jared Jackson, so that would be his second foul, and it is. So Jackson and Newsom both with 2 fouls in the first quarter for Richwoods. We can certainly expect a physical game, Gavin, one that could be decided at the free throw line.
It really could. Both teams have done a good job so far. Not many free throws spread around. I believe Daquan Brown missed 1, but overall, you got to be able to make your foul shots. Just got to make shots overall when they count, especially when you get open looks. Louderman has hit a 3, and again, it's a game of runs, 16-13. Peoria High was in front for most of this first quarter. Richwoods has creeped back very quickly.
Javen Moore for Richwoods and Deontay Mann for Peoria High both check into the game, and there's another foul there on Daquan Little, so that will be Peoria High's 5th team foul, I believe, and that will be the second on Little.
When it comes to the way the officials are going to call the game, kind of set the tone early on, trying to limit some of those extra physical plays. Louderman, though, clearly fouled right there, but we've seen a number of fouls here in the early going, John. Refs don't want to let this get too out of hand, so got to set the tone early. Let them know what's going to be allowed, not allowed. That'll set the tone for the other 3 quarters coming up.
Gotta play a clean basketball game tonight, that's for sure. Louderman's first free throw is up and good. Yeah, I gotta say, while we're at a stoppage, I'm a big fan of Nick Louderman's shoes. You couldn't miss those if, I don't know. You just couldn't miss them, regardless of the situation. And his second free throw is up and good. He will get 3 since he was fouled behind the arc.
Those are some nice shoes he's got.
Looks like he's the only player also on Richwoods that goes with the full long sleeves as well.
You know, personally, I can't do the long sleeves of basketball, John. It just restricts my shooting form, my great shooting form from 3. But maybe Nick Louderman has a secret that I don't know. I'll trust him.
I didn't wear long sleeves because I would just get too hot. I'm impressed how he can stay calm, cool, and collected. But he has so far with 6 points off the bench for the Knights early on. 16-all as we wind down here in the first quarter. Taylor drives in, acrobatic layup, no good, and brought in by Greg Burnside. Richwood senior guard who doubles as the football team's quarterback. Nice feed down low. That's his wide receiver, Javen Moore, and his counterpart guard, and the Knights take a late lead here in the first quarter on a nice dish.
I'd like to see Peoria High just hold for the last shot. If they're able to put up 2 or 3 to finish out this quarter, it's going to give them a big momentum boost. Looks like they're going to do just that.
With it now for the Lions, it looks like that's Devin Richardson. No, wait till, it turns it over. Chance now for Richwoods. It's Javen Moore. Right place, right time again. And how about the response from the Richwoods Knights? Spencer Russell's prayer from deep was no good. But after going down by a couple possessions early on, the Knights in the driver's seat by 4. Offensive battle in the first 8 minutes so far.
It's been very good. Peoria High really controlled the first few minutes, but after that, Richwoods really started storming back. They had a couple of big shots from their usual suspects. Nick Louderman getting some stuff to go. Tavy Smith, it's been a good one so far.
It's been a great game, all you can ask for in the first quarter. We got 3 more left. Let's take a quick break, step aside, a word from our sponsors, and come back with the second quarter. And the Richwoods Knights leading the Peoria High Lions 20-16.
There's a lot of talk about big inventory and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way.
Going here in quarter number 2. Glad you're with us here on Clutch Sports Media. Alongside Gavin Russell, I'm Jonathan Michael. And getting things going, Tavy Smith, count the bucket, my word.
What a take right there from Tavy Smith. Again, he can score at every single level, John. He can get out behind the arc, but also make tough takes like that. Nice job right there from the senior.
Tavy Smith said, no time for introductions or welcome back from the commercial break. He just took it straight to the rack. Lead is now 6, make that 7 for Richwoods. 7 points now for Tavy Smith alongside 6 from Louderman, 4 from Javen Moore. And that Richwoods depth starting to play a factor here in the first half. Daquan Brown a 3, it's good. And he looked at Louderman after that. The game within the game, and I don't think we're done seeing that tonight, Gavin.
He's going to have to be careful. You don't want to get teed up or anything, but love a little gamesmanship and showing his opponent who's boss.
Louderman, corner 3, no good. And Burnside off of his hands, keeps it in. And Nehemiah Mason got a second chance, but now come the Peoria High Lions the other way. Now here comes Daquan Little. His floater, a pretty one, is up and good. And just like that, Peoria High back to within 2, and so good that Little's shoe fell off.
Little runner in the lane right there. Nice job. They're making tough shots, John. Both teams are. That's something I've noticed. You're really not going to get too many wide open looks because both teams play in transition very well, very quick to the ball. But the ability to make tough shots like that, and it looked like we might have a technical.
And Daquan Brown looked unhappy. And ref is going over to the Explorers table for a scorer's table, I should say. I said Explorers. I don't know why I said that, but it looks like that's a technical foul there on Daquan Brown. Just as we were talking about, he's got to keep it under control, but you get to within 2, and that really hurts you because now Tavy Smith has an opportunity to make it a 2-possession game and they get the ball back.
Yeah, he misses the first free throw, but now that kind of puts Brown there on a short leash because, you know, again, if you do anything, even if it's inadvertent later in the game, you pick up another technical foul, you're out. So definitely need to try to stay composed. Really can't afford to lose him. He's already hit a couple of difficult shots. You want to keep him in the game.
Peoria High certainly needs him. He's got 2 fouls now, along with his teammate Daquan Little, and then Markel Newsom and Jared Jackson also with 2 for Richwoods. Now in the paint, here's Burnside working on Brown, maybe trying to get him his 3rd foul. Good defense by Brown, staying disciplined. Nice pass down low, finds Newsom, no good. Still with it, Javen Moore. He goes up, no good. And Peoria Richwoods still keeps it in bounds before it goes out. Tenacious possession there from the Knights. They end up only getting 1 point, but really admire that never say die mentality there on the offensive glass.
And I think we just had an issue warning to the Richwoods bench, so it's early second quarter and things are just already getting interesting. This is appointment television. Got to stay with us this whole game. It's going to be so good.
Tell your friends, tell your family to tune in to Clutch Sports Media or on CIProud.com. 2 of the best basketball teams that we've seen all year. And 3 ball from Daquan Little, no good. Rebound goes to Tavy Smith, who came rushing in. Now the other way, Myquise Taylor. He's a dog on defense, and he almost poked it away. Great defense there, and a 5-second call. And that's what your senior guard can do, your defensive leader. Great job there from Myquise Taylor.
That gets the Peoria High fans fired up. I look down the first few rows. You got Tim Thornton, some of the Peoria High football players and staff down there cheering the guys on the hardwood. So They brought a nice crowd tonight. Just adds to an already great atmosphere.
And Peoria High football team that went to state was a big influence for this basketball team. Over and back call on the Lions. I'll give it to Richwoods, but now maybe it's time that the football team obviously reciprocates the effort, shows up, supports their guys, their friends over on the hardwood as they try and make a deep run in the postseason under head coach Daniel Ruffin in his third year on the sidelines at Peoria High.
Ruffin knows a thing or two about winning, especially in the maroon and black Lions colors. Trying to get him back to that spot.
What a feed there from Jackson over to Burnside. And Richwoods back up by 2 scores. Some nice passing in the post from all the Richwoods players. Brown's 3, no good. And Sabri Quantum lost it. And how about this? Peoria High might come away with it. It'll be a jump ball that will favor the Lions. Gavin, that's almost unbelievable. Looks like Quantum had that signed, sealed, and delivered. And he just fell out of his hands. Tremendous hustle from Daquan Little on the Lions, too.
Probably just got a little bit ahead of himself, looking to move the ball up court and let go of it. That's a costly turnover right there from Richwoods. Now Peoria High a chance to kind of cut back into this deficit. It's a game of momentum, a game of runs. Richwoods has contained a lot of that for most of this half, but an opportunity for Peoria High to get something going out of this timeout.
Head coach Daniel Ruffin calls the timeout for Peoria High, and during this break, Gavin, we saw Tavy Smith having a heck of a first quarter. You see what the kind of week he's had. Again, like we said, reigning Peoria Journal Star Athlete of the Week. That comes after a 31-point effort against Dunlap back on January 10th. Actually, that 31 points was against Manual, rather. Not Dunlap, excuse that error. But he was 8 for 12 on field goals and 11 for 12 from the free throw line. So we talked about coming down the stretch. Free throws could be huge, and Tavy Smith is going to be that guy you want to go to in crunch time.
The game plan probably is not to foul him if at all possible. So late game situations, they'll have some other guys to pick out to send to the line. But he's an excellent player. He can score, again, just about every level, as we've seen.
Lions inbound the ball back in the backcourt. Now we see Spencer Russell, the sophomore guard, with it for the Peoria High Lions, trailing by 5 in case you're just joining us. It was the Lions who got to an early lead, and how about a charge being drawn there? Burnside, as LaShawn Stowers was a little out of control there. Burnside in good position.
Second charge we've seen taken tonight by the Richwoods Knights, and that can be a big part of your game. Drawing offensive fouls helps you out.
9 team fouls for Peoria High. 2 each on Brown, Stowers, and Little. And another charge on the other end. Looks like that was Stowers, so he gets him right back and drawing a charge of his own.
Difference from those last 2 consecutive charges. On one end here, had good position, was already set here on the other end, taking the charge, may have been moving a little bit, but putting that shoulder down, kind of ramming in, definitely can't be doing that.
Lions now looking for a chance to get to within a possession. Daquan Little's runner no good. Now here comes Markel Newsom with a burst of steam, and he gets it up and in past the outstretched arm of a Peoria High defender, and a football scored in our hands now, 28-21, the home Richwoods Knights leading early on. Taylor, mid-range, no good, way off. And Richwoods looks like they're going to slow the pace down a little bit, and leading by 7, why not?
I don't know if we were on the air quite yet, if you could hear us earlier. Tough take, no good right there, but Taylor sounds like he's been battling an ankle injury, so we'll see if that comes into effect tonight.
His runner no good, but gets his offensive rebound high off the glass. No dice, and Greg Burnside brings down another rebound. He's been active on the glass so far, and he's got 2 points to add to it. Newsom, tough jumper is off the mark. Back and forth action. Haven't seen a stoppage in probably close to at least a minute of game time. Taylor, perimeter jumper is off, and both teams starting to maybe get tired out a little bit, Gavin.
That's very possible, but Taylor just looks a little bit off on that jumper. Perhaps that injury is bothering him a little bit. Some might have thought he would have still been out coming into this game, but playing through it.
Great block there from LaShawn Stowers. He had 5 of them against Dunlap in a recent game. And now here comes Brown. He draws a foul. And it looks like that one may go on Smith, or it could be on Burnside. It will go on Burnside. And Brown will make his 4th trip to the line. He's got over half of Peoria High's points with 11 so far. First one is up and good. Daquan Brown, he's just really been the heart and soul of this Peoria High team, both tonight and throughout the entire season. He's got an offer from Western Illinois, and can certainly see that with the season that he is having, lots of 20-plus point efforts that I think a lot of more college coaches might be calling his name in the next couple months or so.
Very possible. He's got a whole nother year to play here in the River City also, so we'll see if he can continue to just churn it up, refine his skills a little bit, and he'll probably be playing D1 ball.
What a rebound there from Burnside, up and good. Greg Burnside, one of the most tenacious guys you'll see on the floor right now. A couple of huge plays to get Richwoods up 8. Lions need a response, but all they do is turn it over. 3-on-2 the other way. Here comes Newsome, kicks out. Smith, triple, good. Timeout, Peoria High. Richwoods Dungeon, the student section is loving it, as their home team and their school leads by 11. Just under 3 minutes left to go here in the second quarter.
Peoria High started out this game so well, John, but they've just been the team with more confidence in this game. You see Greg Burnside pulling down some boards, going up over a bigger defender, putting it in for second chance points. Smith over there in the corner knocking down a 3. It seems like just about everything's going right for Richwoods, but once again, you can't be too streaky in a game like this. Got to be able to play consistent throughout. Any opportunity given to Peoria High, more often than not, they're going to capitalize on, so got to keep your foot on the gas pedal. You really want to stick it to your crosstown rival.
Richwoods 16-3 right now. A win tonight would match their win total from last year, where they went 17-9 and 8-2 in conference play. They ended up losing in the regional semifinals. A tough draw against the Metamora Redbirds. So talk about a tough team to go against in the first round of the playoffs. But the way they're looking right now, they shouldn't have to play as strong of an opponent as Metamora in the first round of the playoffs this year. But there's so many skilled basketball teams and lots of teams, especially in 3A around Peoria, that can make deep runs into March Madness this year. Triple on the way from Little was no good. And off the foot of Stowers, back to Brown. Now here's Little again, going in for the mid-range, and it's rebounded there by Newsome. Lions have gone cold from the field in the last couple of minutes, and Newsome throws one up, and off the iron, no good. Brown, a good kick out there. In the corner, here's Deontay Mann. And the lid is just on the basket right now for Peoria High. Just a great first quarter offensively, but they're really struggling to get things going now. Lots of shots from the perimeter and even some mid-ranges as well. Nothing finding the net.
Seems like they just got out of rhythm. It seemed like in the first quarter they were just kind of getting their open looks, making shots, just kind of finding the back of the net. Just not in that rhythm right now, so you got to be able to find it. All it takes is a couple buckets. See Brown, he tries to drive inside quite a bit. Kicking out, being unselfish, passing it to his teammates. They're just not hitting the shots.
Big key right now, I would say, for Peoria High, Yevon, right now is, just how they'll respond to a big run like this. And Daniel Ruffin said, I think our main focus right now is the chemistry of the team. And if we can stay together through adversity and through good times too, I think we'll be just fine. So right now, this is a test of adversity right now. They try to get themselves back in this ballgame, trailing by 11. They can get right back in it. Another charge drawn by Richwoods. That's their third, and that foul will go on Deontay Mann, his second, the team's 10th.
Richwoods is drawing all sorts of charges tonight, hitting the hardwood. Unselfish play, though. Will Smith's got to be happy with his guys being able to just get in position, lay it on the line. Maybe need to get a mop or something out there. It's all sorts of perspiration at that end of the floor.
I'm sure if you're Will Smith or any of the Richwoods players there on the bench or on the court too, I'm sure you don't mind. You get a little breather there for your team, and it also shows that, hey, we've been taking some charges. That sweat is hitting the floor. Richwoods doing all the little things right so far. Here's the three ball from Newsom, top of the key, it's good. 14 points the lead now for Richwoods. And they're starting to rip this game wide open. They led by just 4 after the first quarter, and it has been all night in these almost 7 minutes of the second quarter. What will the Lions do? Here's Taylor with it, finding Little, and still Peoria High can't buy a basket.
So close, just can't get all the way there. Mike Taylor will pick up a bit of a press, but Jackson making some moves.
I think that's got to be huge for Peoria High right now, as Quantum was left wide open in the post. 38-22. How about these Richwoods Knights and the run that they have gone on? Stowers kicks it out to Taylor. But I think right now, going in the halftime locker room, I'm sure Coach Ruffin won't be happy if you're Peoria High. That might make you a little bit happier. Mike Taylor draining a 3 there for the Lions. It's a big bucket there, but sure he's not too happy. But I think the biggest thing he's going to talk about is probably get stops on the defense, because as they always say, defense leads to offense, especially if you're able to get out in transition as much as the Lions do.
Sure thing, and again, Richards will try to hold for the last shot here, but you got to make a stop if you're Peoria High. Can't afford them to get any bigger of a lead than 13 heading into the locker room.
But then now here's Newsom driving the paint, kicks to Quantum, mid-range, off the front rim, and no good. Burnside at the horn. Oh, almost had it. Burnside's been good from the field, as has the rest of his team. And it is the Richwoods Knights taking a 38-25 lead into the halftime locker room. They led 20-16 after 1, but they doubled up Peoria High, their crosstown rivals, 18-9 in quarter number 2. It's been a great game so far, Gavin. Overall, your first takeaways from the first 16 minutes.
Well, the first couple of minutes of this game, Peoria High looked like they were in the driver's seat. They were going to really put it to the home Knights tonight, but they really have rebounded. Richwoods has started playing very well. They're making tough shots. They're winning the transition battle. Really not doing a lot wrong. Will Smith's just got to tell his guys, keep it up. Daniel Ruffin's going to want to change a few things in the locker room, but we're in store for a good second half.
Should be a great second half. Glad you're with us here on Clutch Sports Media. Tell everybody you know that it's one of the city's best rivalries is streaming live tonight. We got all the action for you, but it's the Richwoods Knights having the upper hand at their home gym, the Dungeon, early on. We'll step aside for a quick word from our sponsors, take a little break here for halftime and reset, come back with some more analysis, stats, maybe even some scores from around the area, and live action the second half here on ClutchSportsIL.com and CIProud.com as well.
There's a lot of talk about big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way. There's a lot of talk about big. Big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way. There's a lot of talk about big. Big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way. There's a lot of talk about big. Big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way.
Welcome back to Richwoods High School in a great Big 12 boys basketball conference matchup between the Richwoods Knights and the Peoria High Lions. Teams warming up out of halftime. Both head coaches have given them their halftime talks. Maybe we'll see some adjustments coming in half number 2, but Gavin, it was a great first half. And what do you think that each head coach was talking about to their guys in the halftime break?
Well, Will Smith's got to be pleased with the way his guys are playing. Knights up by 13 in a big rivalry matchup. They've been pretty composed for the most part. A little bit of a slower start, but obviously 38 points. They picked it up very quickly. He's got to just tell his guys, keep doing what you're doing. Stay confident. Don't let the game get the best of you. I'd expect them to try to do that here in the second half. And Daniel Ruffin, it's not so much that they've done a whole lot wrong. Rather, they're just not making their shots. So keep firing away, maybe drop a few more plays, change around the defense a little bit. They surely have more than enough time to get back into this game. And 13 seems like a big lead, but for a team like Peoria High and even vice versa on Richwood's side, that's nothing. You got to be able to play four full complete quarters of basketball.
Certainly, and I think for Peoria High, obviously, they got torn apart for 38 points in the first half. You look at the wins that they've had this season, Gavin, they've played tremendous defense in all their wins. Like some of their point totals from the opposition, you look at 46, 48, 45, 52, 39, even 28. So they're holding in their wins, they're holding their opponents to less than 60 points. Right now, the Knights on pace for 76. That would be one of the highest, I believe it would be the highest point total scored against the Lions so far. So I'm sure head coach Daniel Ruffin is talking about that. Coming into this one, Gavin, I had a little fun stat that I found. For Peoria High, their magic number right now is 59. They're 7-2 when they score 59 points, and they scored 58 in many of their wins, and especially in their two most recent losses, both against Rock Island and Normal West. So gonna maybe pick it up a little bit on offense. They're on pace for 50, but again, like I said, defense leads to offense, and maybe we'll see the Lions start to press a little bit more here in half number 2.
See if they will, but Richwood's coming out right at him. Didn't get that one to go. Again, Peoria's got to make a quick response. I'd expect the ball to be in the hands of Daquan Brown quite often early in the second half.
Brown had 12 points in the first half. That leads all scorers. Tavy Smith with 11 for Richwoods. Peoria High battled foul trouble in the first half. Brown with 2 fouls along with Little, Stowers, and also looking to see there, Daquan Little had 2, and Stowers. Eli Love also had 2 fouls as well. He gets one to go there for the Lions. And he get it right back. Screen here from Little, opens up Brown. He kicks it back out Nice find in the corner. Stowers' three is no good. And I'll go back to Richwoods.
Again, just another open shot right there. Couldn't hit it. Stowers had a nice look. But good start here for the Lions. Got an early bucket. Just got to continue to force some stops.
7 Knights have scored so far. It's very balanced, perhaps one of the most balanced teams in the area. Anybody can hit you on any given night. And just like Sabri Quadam there, gets it up to go on the left block. He's up to 6 points for the Knights down low. Quadam and Love back in the game. Both of them started, but once we got deeper into the first and second quarter, we didn't see as much of either of them.
They're tone setters for both of their teams. Mentioned Quadam's a glue guy.
Daquan Brown gets it up and in. In a blink of an eye, he found the basket. Up to 14 points now, and he made that one look easy.
Trading a couple buckets here, but again, Peoria High needs some stops. It's hard to do, though, when you got Markel Newsom pulling up for 2.
And Newsom up to 5 points now for the Knights. So trading buckets so far early in the second half. Peoria High is going to have to find a recipe to keep them from making their jump shots or just start forcing turnovers before they can even get a shot off in the first place. As Brown draws another foul, and they'll head back to the stripe. It's been one of his best friends so far this evening, Gavin.
Certainly has, John. And again, he likes to drive inside a lot. He's missed a few free throws, so obviously that's costly. But a guy that's just kind of all over the floor, a guy that can shoot from 3. Also likes to take it inside and makes him really tough to guard. Sometimes you have no other option but to foul him, but hey, it works out in Richwood's benefit.
That second one was kind of a line drive. Thought about going down, but instead fell out. Richwoods hasn't really had an empty possession to start the second half. Here's Burnside from the free throw line, no good. And the effort there from Sabri Quadam deflects it off of there of Love, and he'll stay there on Richwood's end.
Quadam has definitely been the unsung hero of tonight's game, really dominated the paint for the Knights. He's come up with some timely rebounds and added a few points to go along with it.
3 ball from Newsom was no good. Now here comes the other number 2, Stowers, or rather Brown, kicks it out to Daquan Little and gets it to go. That's a big sequence there for the Lions. You get a rare stop, and then you get a 3 ball on the other end. And the lead now down to 10.
Start piecing it together. See what they can do.
Quadam kicks it back out to Burnside. Directs his teammate Tavy Smith. Now Quadam around the perimeter. Feeds it down low. Newsom battles on the left side and loses it. Brown, what a pass up to Myquise Taylor. Lays it up and in and fouls it. And gets the basket. Foul there on Tavy Smith. And Myquise Taylor's got a chance for a 3-point play. Here come the Lions.
Daniel Ruffin wanted his guys to send a message over to the Richwoods bench telling them, hey, if you blink, you might lose your lead. Might miss it. Here come the Lions, as you mentioned, and 3-point play. And 13 points at halftime, that's nothing for them. They can score in a hurry.
Certainly, and we've talked about Peoria High. They've lost in a heartbreaking ways many times this year, as how about the layup there from Jared Jackson in traffic as he fell to the hardwood. Peoria High has lost on 2 buzzer beaters this year. One of them we saw against Peoria Notre Dame, Jacob Johnson, with an improbable heave. Runner from Daquan Little is no good. And then Peoria High also lost on a 35-foot prayer to Brother Rice in the State Farm Holiday Classic. So 2 of their losses have just came from more or less lucky shots. Obviously respect to both players that made those buzzer beaters, but really don't practice those very often, and that's how Peoria High has lost 2 of their games this year.
And again, that's why 11-8 doesn't tell the whole story. They're 4-2 in the conference, just like Richwoods is. So get to some of those non-conference battles, and maybe harder to scout those teams. Maybe you don't play your best on that night. And as you mentioned, sometimes things just don't go your way, but really tells the whole story is how you play in the conference how you play late in the season going into regionals. Peoria High would like that to be a good one. This would certainly be a trademark victory if they can get it. Richwoods doesn't want to split the season series.
Brown gets 1 of 2 to go, but back to your point, Gavin, again, Peoria High, they can, sometimes it played a little tough down the stretch, and no lead is always 100% safe for them, but they can also get right back in the game too if they're down, especially in the second half. It's now down to 8 as Richwoods slows it down. Momentum certainly favoring the visiting Lions right now. Jackson and Little have a little one-on-one battle. Now here's Tavy Smith. He's going to work on Myquise Taylor. Certainly not an enviable task, and gives over now to Quadam. Doing some work there in the post, and Eli Love frustrated him a little bit too much, and he'll be called for the travel. Lions can get it down to 5 or 6 if they can get a bucket to go on this possession.
Gotta just keep playing your ball. They've had some open shots, and a couple more of those fall. We're looking at a real close game. Just gotta keep taking them. They're getting good looks.
Peoria High certainly has the upper hand, and that will be a charge. I don't know about that one, Gavin. I saw you shake your head.
And it's one of those things that
I'm not sure about that one.
It's a judgment call. Hard to do on the floor. Maybe a little bit questionable, and I'm not sure that I see Daniel Ruffin shaking his head as well. Not going to love it, but it's one of those things. Maybe hooked him around a little bit, lowered the shoulder. Enough for the official to call it.
That foul went on LaShawn Stowers. That's his third. Also, Jared Jackson for Richwoods recently picked up his third as well, so that's something to monitor. Richwoods, they should monitor Daquan Brown, though, and they do. Tavy Smith gets the block, but he'll be called for the foul. So loud in this gym, I barely even heard the referee's whistle, Gavin. Thought he may have came away with that one cleanly, but instead Brown goes back to the free throw line yet again.
About 50% ball, 50% arm. He was real close to picking up a highlight reel block right there, but sends Brown to the line. He's had trouble shooting free throws tonight. He's missed a handful. Hits the first one. I'm sure he's a little bit frustrated with his effort at the line tonight, but nothing you can do now. Just got to make the ones you get.
And certainly you won't make every free throw. I mean, every basketball player misses a couple here or there, but Daquan Brown, though, has certainly done his part in keeping Peoria High back in this game, and they're now down just 6. Brown leading the way with 17. Here's Myquise Taylor making things really tough on Jackson. That Peoria High crowd comes alive. And a foul there. Looks like that'll be on Brown. That'll be his third personal. And the Lions' second team foul of the second half. Done a much better job in playing clean basketball. They put Richwoods in the bonus pretty early on in the first half. Now Richwoods, they're the ones that have committed more fouls in half number 2. Louderman's three is an air ball.
They're going to say it was tipped. Daniel Ruffin does not particularly like that one.
And neither does Daquan Brown. Boy, the whole gym is, the Boo Birds are out here in the dungeon. I happened too quickly to see it from my angle, but
I don't think it was tipped, John. It looks like it was just really well contested. Louderman didn't get enough on it, but ref called it as so.
And now it'll be a foul going the other way. It looks like Louderman may have hooked a Peoria High defender there, and he did. That'll be his first. Richwoods' fifth, so they are calling it both ways. You can't really fault the referees for doing that, at least. That's the best thing you can do as a referee.
They're being consistent with their calls, and you got to respect that. Every game's going to be called a little bit differently, John, depending on the refs that you get, but as long as they're calling it fair and equal, that's all you need.
Brown drives the lane, gives it to Stowers, top of the key, up, it's good! You had to wait an eternity for that one to fall, but boy, was the wait worth it. And LaShawn Sowers has got Peoria High back within a possession. Oh boy, baby, this is Peoria basketball. Don't turn off your TVs or close your laptops or close a tab on your phone. This is going to be a great finish. And Jared Jackson on the other end. How about that roll? The rims just want to see the three balls go down. Two fortuitous rolls on both sides of the court. And we're back into a close ball game, Gavin. 47-41, Richwoods with the lead.
What a sequence right there. Couple of in and out shots. Jackson on one end, Little on the other end. Man, it's starting to heat up now. 6-point game. Feels like it could go either direction. I really wouldn't say either team has more momentum than another. I mean, this is up for grabs, flip of a coin right now. It's just going to come down to who can get hot late and take as much momentum into the fourth quarter as possible.
This third quarter has certainly favored the Peoria High Lions. They've responded admirably after going down as many as 16. Right now they're on a 19 to 9 run. It's 38-22, Richwoods. That was their biggest lead of the ball game at about midway through the second quarter. Here's Daquan Brown, gives it to Stowers. Head fakes Mason and kicks over. What a pass. Little thought about driving on Burnside and thought better of it. Brown wants a screen from his big man, Love. Now goes right. Finds his man on the roll and gets the pass deflected. No good, and it'll be another charge on Peoria High. Or charge favoring Richwoods, and that will be Daquan Brown's fourth foul. So he's probably going to sit on the bench for quite some time.
That's a really tough break for the Lions' leading scorer. He was closing in on 20 points in the game. Now he's got to sit on the bench, presumably for probably close to half the fourth quarter. Too big of a risk to put him back in.
Deontay Mann comes in as his replacement. Well, Mann can certainly score as well. He off the bench, he had 10 points against Dunlap, and he's been a good contributor for the Lions this year. So Peoria High with some good depth as well. Driving now, and it's tipped away. Who's got it? And it is Richwoods. That one off the hands there of Myquise Taylor. He didn't think so, but yeah, I think that one was pretty clear. It went right up there off of his fingertips.
Yeah, he was trying to kick that ball ahead and obviously making the right read, making the right play, just a little bit out of the reach, couldn't corral it. Myquise Taylor is an electric player, as is Daquan Brown. They're an excellent duo at guard for the Lions. He's really going to have to try to pick it up while Brown sits on the bench with 4 fouls.
It could be anybody stepping up for Peoria High, and it could be anybody stepping up for Richwoods as well. 10 talented players on the floor at all times is pretty much a guarantee. Anytime that the Lions and the Knights face off. Long storied rivalry between these two teams. Richwoods got the upper hand earlier this season with a 56-55 victory back on December 16th. There's Greg Burnside wasting some clock and working it down. Looks like Richwoods going to hold for the last shot. And they'll go for the open one, but they miss it. A scrum on the court, loose ball. Who's got it? Peoria High. And now here comes Daquan Little driving in. That one was blocked by Mason, and that's how the third quarter will end. Daquan Little can't believe it, but his Lions made quite the charge in quarter number 3. Just a 6-point deficit. This one has all the makings of a classic finish, Gavin.
It's going to be an excellent finish. Lions won that third quarter, so we're going to have some things to watch here heading into the final frame. It's surely to be a good one.
I'll tell you a quick word from our sponsors here. Glad you're watching on ClutchSportsIL.com and CIProud.com. Richwoods has a small lead going into the fourth, but Peoria High hot on their tails. We'll be back right after this.
There's a lot of talk about big. Big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like They want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way.
It's winning time here in the Dungeon. Fourth quarter rolling around between the Richwoods Knights and the Peoria High Lions. Glad you're with us here on your Tuesday night. Spending it seeing some of the best high school basketball in the area. An early tip-off here tonight, Gavin. We were looking some scores around the area and then realized that, well, not a lot of other games have tipped off yet, but certainly a busy night. This one of the best matchups around, although Manual and Peoria Notre Dame, just right down the street from here almost, from Richwoods. They'll be tipping off here. I believe they probably just tipped off now at 7:02 p.m. That's another huge Big 12 game to watch, but for now, shaping up to be a great finish between the Lions and the Knights. Peoria High working with Daquan Brown there on the bench, and Deontay Mann got fouled shooting a three. Nehemiah Mason got a little too aggressive there, and Mann will shoot thrice at the charity stripe.
Maybe a little bit of acting there at the end of that three-point attempt, but hey, whatever works. Got to be careful, though. Again, Don King, one of the more veteran officials in the area, he'll be quick to hand out a technical or something if you say a little bit too much. So, already seen one technical in this game. Can't really afford to get any more.
Mann misses the first for Peoria High. See head coach Dan Ruff, and he's putting Daquan Brown at the scorer's table. So how about the trust in the Lions coaching staff for their junior guard, although may just want to just ride Daquan Brown as long as they can until, obviously you don't hope he fouls out. He's been an electrifying player so far today. Peoria High is certainly not hoping that he fouls out either, but it's been a physical game, and we'll see if Richwoods attacks him, maybe tries to get him to pick up his fifth. They lead by 4 here, 7.5 minutes to go here at the Dungeon. Markel Newsom with it. He's been a great job facilitating Richwoods' offense this evening. Burnside doesn't want the screen from Moores. Wants to work on Brown. Maybe he has a plan to have him pick up his fifth. Goes in. Looking for a baseline jumper and pass it over to Javen Moore. Now it's Newsom working down low, kicks it out Burnside. A long possession from Richwoods, looking to milk some clock, get a good shot, and stay up in the driver's seat, and they do so. Greg Burnside. Phenomenal turnaround there, and that's exactly what you draw up. Long possession ending in a layup for Richwoods.
And Daquan Brown really can't do much to contest, risking that fourth foul. So he had to kind of pull off a little bit. It was great for the Lions, just couldn't finish that defensive possession.
Lions trailing by 6, but very much in this game. They can knock down the shots from deep. Here's Little, yes sir! Daquan Little makes it a one-possession game yet again. Right on cue, Gavin. Peoria High gets one to go from deep. And there's a scoreboard controversy here. The Richwoods scoreboard is updated and says the score is now 50-46. The Peoria High fans are pointing at the scoreboard saying, hey, it was just 49-46 1 minute ago. Now it says 50-45.
Gonna keep making them more unhappy the more the score changes.
Now it's 49-46. Believe it or not, Gavin, that's not the first time we've seen that on Clutch Sports Media this year. I can't remember the last game where we did see that, but there's been a couple of those little controversies where scoreboard says one thing and everybody else in the gym is like, wait a second, that's not correct, but we're all good. Ready to play here, under 6 minutes left at Richwoods. Markel Newsom right out of the stoppage with a bucket, and he has played great basketball so far tonight. Here's Stowers finding Love, the big guy. The response for Peoria High.
They really haven't gone to Love too much tonight. Credit to Richwoods' defense kind of cutting him off in the post, but you get him open, he's really the biggest player on the floor. Just keep giving it to him.
And Richwoods, they struggle with normal community size last time that we saw him, at least here in person. So you gotta wonder, obviously Eli Love maybe not quite as big as Jaheim Weber or some of the other bigs on the Ironman squad, but Love could be a huge factor as they still get it to go in the post. It is Greg Burnside. He's up to 8 points now for the Knights. He's got the last 2 buckets for Richwoods. Peoria High needs to respond, and Javen Moore will get called for the foul. He pushed Love down low, so again, another advantage of having the biggest guy on the floor. You got to be a little physical. And Love will head to the free throw line for his first trip tonight. 17 fouls on Richwoods, so Peoria High in the bonus the rest of the way out. 1 and 1, the front end is up and good. Big shot there for Eli Love. And the Lions senior forward is perfect from the stripe. 2 pretty free throws, so he says, you guys can't play hack-a-shack with me coming down the stretch because I'll knock him down from the line. 2 big ones there for the Lions. Now Tavy Smith with it for Richwoods. And Mike Weiss-Taylor running the opposite direction. Now Jackson with it. 4.5 to go, and this one is going to come down to the wire. And Richwoods presses the reset button yet again. Look at them just trying to find the open lane, but Peoria High's perimeter defense has been really stout. None more so than Taylor there, who just took a spill.
Really good defense here by Peoria High. They've really locked up here in this quarter, and a timeout by Richwoods. That's exactly what you need to do, even on the possessions that result in a Richwoods basket. You're not giving them many options, and Richwoods can be streaky at times. They can have their inconsistencies, so Daniel Ruffin's squad doing exactly what they need to do on defense, but Will Smith obviously very easily can drop a play here and try to get something rolling, get his guys back on track offensively.
And Gavin, let's take a look at Peoria High again. We had talked about a lot of their close losses so far this season. Again, they're much better than their 11-8 record indicates because a lot of their losses have been so close, and obviously 2 of those, they had those buzzer beater losses, but you look at it, they had 5 losses by less than 3 or less than 4 points so far this year, the 2 buzzer beaters. And last year, Gavin, in the year in which they went 15-10, 6 of their losses came by 5 points or fewer. So it's crazy to think about Peoria High. 11 of their last 18 losses have came by less than 5 points, so they're no stranger to these close games, but more often than not, they haven't been able to pull it out, but it would be a huge win if they could do so on the road against their crosstown rival and also get some revenge on them too.
Really, that's exactly what you want to do, and Daniel Ruffin mentioned they have high expectations, just have some stuff left to prove. They are trying to do so tonight. It'd be a statement victory if they can pull it off.
Javen Moore is defended well by Love, and a late foul call. That will send Moore to the free throw line. That a little bit of a late whistle upset the Peoria High fans, but certainly it looks like there may have been a little bit of contact there.
Love took a nice chop there at Javen Moore, trying to block it. Caught too much of the arm, but Moore missing the first free throw. That's been a problem for both sides. Peoria High could be in front if they would have made all their free throws up to this point, but Richwoods having some similar woes. Can't hit from the charity stripe.
Haven't got to the charity stripe as much. Peoria High playing much cleaner basketball in the second half, just 4 team fouls. Here's a 3-ball, Little in the corner is no good. And this one will stay with Peoria High as the right call there.
Brown continues to just play aggressively. I mean, you really have to, but again, 4 fouls for Daquan Brown if you're just tuning in, so he's obviously doesn't have a lot of margin for error.
Peoria High working on the Richwoods man defense. They've trailed since late in the first quarter. They jumped out to an early lead, gave it up, and haven't had one since. Looks like the Lions will call a timeout. They try and draw up a play to possibly tie this game up or get it within one. Again, if you're just joining us, Richwoods led by as many as 16. Peoria High fought back a little bit at the end of the second quarter, made a statement in the third, got it to within an arm's length. And then now they're just down by one possession here against their Big 12 conference foe. Both teams coming in this game, Gavin, 4-2. So Big 12 has just been so good this year, and basketball overall in Peoria, all four of the Peoria Big 12 schools that are just playing phenomenal basketball. Probably one of the best years overall for the city's basketball in recent memory.
It really has, and again, this is a city and a community that is so based around the game of basketball, just sports in general, of course. Longtime host of the IHSA Boys Basketball State Finals, now in Champaign, but this city has thrived on its basketball, Manual, P&D, of course, Peoria High and Richwoods, the Middle Illini schools. It's all really good, and these are two staple programs to that.
Certainly, lots of good players that have came out of this area as Stowers gets fouled. I'm sure one of those famous people that we're thinking about might be watching tonight, Curly Boo Johnson, Harlem Globetrotter, Peoria High alum. Curly, if you're watching, big shout out to you, and also AJ Guyton here in attendance. Here again, he has a little bit of Peoria ties, as well as daughter Aaliyah is a highly touted recruit for the Lions right now. And you got guys like Sean Livingston, Marcella Somerville, Patrick O'Brien, Daniel Ruffin, and lots of other players. You know, Manuel's had some players, P&D's had a couple players go to major Division I schools and the like, as Stowers gets both to fall, and Peoria High is just down by one. Now 3.5 to go here in the dungeon. Buckle up, everybody. This is the finish that we've kind of been promising you the whole time. Knew it was going to come down to the wire. Burnside gives over to Newsome. He's been a dynamic playmaker here in the second half. Him and Burnside carried the load after Tavy Smith had a hot first half. You see he's being defended there by Myquise Taylor, and it's tough to put a lot of points up against Myquise Taylor.
It really is. He's an excellent defender. He can really, really spread the floor, cover a lot of area.
It's very long.
Very long indeed.
See it here as he's defending Smith. Now under 3 minutes to go. Again, Richwoods trying to work that ball around, take some time off the clock and get a good shot.
Richwoods doesn't have the luxury of a big lead, though. They got to score some more points.
And they find the open man down low. It's Javen Moore. That's a huge bucket. Richwoods fans can breathe a little bit easier now, leading by 3. Similar to the play that they had for Burnside just a couple minutes to go. Up there was Myquise Taylor, no good. And Moore comes away with it for Richwoods. A huge sequence for them as we approach 2 minutes here to go in the Lions' den. And there's a clear foul there on Taylor, trying to poke it out. That'll just be his first, so he's in no foul trouble. And that'll be the 5th on Peoria High.
Still, though, an undisciplined foul right there for Myquise Taylor. A couple of the coaches saying, you got to know better than that. Watch the time, watch our foul count. Not the bonus yet, but again, just can't make those costly fouls.
Here's Marquel Newsome with it. Now under 2 minutes to go here. Richards leading by 3. The full head is steam, no good. A big stop for Peoria High. What can they do with it? Here's DeQuan Brown. Who else? Drives to the lane. Up, no good. Love almost had it. Here's Little now. Stowers over to Brown. Corner 3 for the tie. Yes! DeQuan Brown! The lone ape, they call him, has tied it up at 55. And he about blew the roof off this place, so we have a stoppage here in play. Looks like just a little delay of game, it looks like.
The net, I think, was all tucked up into the rim after that swish, nothing but twine from DeQuan Brown.
A pretty shot there to tie it up, and it couldn't have come at a bigger time. Peoria High will pick up a foul. Looks like it'll be a reach-in. So we'll wait to see who it was on. It may have been Taylor. And it was.
That's a tough call. Not a lot of contact. Now both teams in the bonus from here on out, so that does change the dynamic of this game.
55 all with just over a minute left to play. And just over a month ago, Richwoods won at 56-55. So deja vu much? These two teams are about as evenly matched as they come. And they just come away with a turnover. Look at Daquan Brown. And look at Peoria High. They are pumped up. They forced a turnover, a 5-second call, and they'll get the ball with 1 minute to play. How about the defensive effort from these Lions?
Tenacious. They're coming into the dungeon, trying to roar to a victory. Again, using this half of the gym that we're on. A lot of Peoria High supporters found their way over here. It's Richwoods gym, but really it's just back and forth. The crowds are into it. I mean, this is just television. This is basketball. Everybody should be watching.
And you're going to look at Daquan Brown, the man of the hour for Peoria High, who has played almost this entire fourth quarter without picking up his fourth foul. So, yeah, we had talked about him. You know, he's got to rein it in maybe a little bit and not pick up his fourth so early. He's done a great job of coming back and keeping himself in the game and keeping his team in the game with that corner three to tie things up after the Lions led by trailed by 16 in the first half. And now they have the ball. They hold on to it, may play for last shot, or rather, actually no, Richwoods has the ball, excuse me.
I think they were avoiding the 5-second call, so it was very close, but forces Richwoods to use a timeout. Peoria High with a lot of momentum still.
50 seconds now for Richwoods. They've been no stranger to taking time off the clock, and throwing it up there was Markel Newsome, and he got fouled. So he'll head to the line for two. It wasn't the act of shooting, as that foul will go on Daquan Little.
They're in the bonus, but it is a shooting foul, so he'll shoot two regardless. Although Richwoods has had their struggles at the line, as has Peoria High. Really got to make these.
Newsome's first is up and good. That's a huge one for Richwoods. So pressure-packed free throws here. These are the ones that those extra reps over the summer, maybe after practice from the free throw line, come into play, and Newsome is good from the line, a perfect 2 for 2. And now that puts the onus on Peoria High. They don't necessarily need to score here, but a bucket would be huge to tie it up or potentially take the lead. Here's Taylor. Brown for the lead. Front ribbon, no good, but Stowers gets support, got mugged, and it will stay with Richwoods. Peoria High fans are livid. They wanted a call there on Stowers. Physical play either way. But Peoria High will get a second chance.
Thought there might have been a foul right there, but got blocked away cleanly is what they'll say. Peoria High gets another opportunity, though.
Peoria High calls a timeout. They were dangerously close to a 5-second call, trying to get that ball inbounded.
You got one to burn, 30 seconds left in the game. Still leave yourself the timeout. Now a chance to draw up a play with a minute timeout.
At Peoria High, they need a bucket or at least something. Maybe a trip to the free throw line. A three-pointer would put them ahead. And you look over there at Richwoods. It's a defensive game plan if you're Will Smith in that huddle, because obviously, I think number one's got to be stop Daquan Brown, but there's been lots of other guys that have gotten some big buckets for the Lions down the stretch.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to give up a bucket. That's the ultimate goal, but definitely want to stick with the shooters that may be out on the perimeter. Daquan Brown, or really anybody on the floor for the Lions, can shoot from beyond the arc, so you got to stick with those shooters. You can afford to give up 2 points, and then Richwoods would have maybe a chance at the final shot of regulation. But definitely don't want to give up a three-pointer. That would give Peoria High the lead. See what the coaching matchup does here. See which coach is playing a better game of chess tonight, what they can draw up out of the huddle. It's going to be an exciting last 30 seconds, John.
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if they didn't go to either Brown, or maybe if they crashed in on Brown, either kicking out to Daquan Little or LaShawn Stowers. Both of those fellas can shoot the basketball. Maybe Eli Love and send Myquise Taylor down for an offensive board. They get it into Stowers. 25 on the clock. We'll see how much does Peoria High want to chew off of it. Stowers drives in, and it's good! How about the bucket from LaShawn Stowers? And we're tied at 57. Richwoods the other way. Here's Jackson. Now 10 on the clock. Works on Stowers. Up. No good. Here come the Lions. Now with 6. And they call a timeout. 6.5 on the clock, and Peoria High can win the basketball game. Oh, mercy. What an atmosphere in the dungeon.
Oh, man. What a sequence right there. Jackson thought he had a lane to the hoop, couldn't get the bucket to go. Now 6 seconds, although they do have to go the length of the floor, John, so keep that in mind. Definitely more than enough time, but obviously if you turn the ball over, especially if it's a 5-second count, you can't get the ball inbounded. Richwoods could have another chance, but it's in Peoria High's hands right now. It's looking like they'll have a shot to try to win this ball game.
Gavin, in the words of our friend Joe Delfonso, you want to play faster now, but you can't hurry, because if you do that, you could risk a turnover, and then your whole team's down there, and Richwoods could have a wide open bucket to potentially win the game. So, number one, you got to take care of the basketball. It's certainly not the end of the world if you go to overtime for sure. Peoria High, getting to overtime is quite the accomplishment in itself after being down by 16. They get in. It's Daquan Brown with 5. Across the line. He may be open. Pulls up for the win. Daquan Brown not happy with the refs, and neither are the Peoria High Lions. And the Peoria High assistant says he got him all over.
The ref just threw his hand up and said, nah, no foul call right there. Wow, what a finish right there. I mean, that's as good of a look as you're going to get.
That was a great look. Daquan Brown just pulls up to the elbow, and that's a shot he's comfortable with, and one that he's drained so far tonight. I was surprised to see, I was looking more at Brown, to be quite honest with you and everybody else at home. I didn't really quite see how much time was left on the clock. I was surprised they had enough time to get a second possession off the offensive rebound.
It would have been very quick, and I think that the mentality right there was as soon as they got the offensive board, just throw it up, try to hope for something and get a foul. Didn't look like there was some contact, but again, it's like, what did the officials determine he was doing? Was he shooting the basketball? Did he really have possession enough to warrant a foul? Guess we'll never know, John. All we know is we've got extra basketball for free coming right to your living room.
Potentially the game of the year brewing on Clutch Sports Media. If you're watching right now, definitely do not turn this one off, and tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody that likes watching basketball, especially Peoria area basketball. This is one of the best games we've seen so far this year. And off the tip, goes off of the night, so it will stay with the Peoria High Lions. Boy, what a treat, Gavin. We get an extra 4 minutes of this crosstown rivalry. Maybe we'll see even more. Maybe we'll even be as lucky to get to double overtime. For now, it's Lions with it. They try and find Love down low, and that pass is broken up by Moore. It's tough, Gavin, if you're Richwoods, because obviously Peoria High, they're playing, obviously Richwoods, they're in their home gym, but Peoria High is all the momentum right now, and you play 4 more minutes, this may only be a matter of time as Taylor up and no good. Great play there by Greg Burnside to keep it in. What a pass down low. Jackson floats it up and in. That's a big bucket there for Richwoods.
Now let's see what Peoria High can do. Nice job by Richwoods scoring quickly. Got to make a response.
Pass down low. They get it down low to Love, and he turns it over. Now here comes Richwoods. They 3-on-3 break, and a foul will go on Stowers. Let's get a good look there at Tavy Smith, who went up strong with it. That'll be Stowers' 4th foul, the 8th on the Lions, so neither team again in the double bonus.
That's 4 on Stowers, so a couple of Lions playing with 4 fouls. Daquan Brown and now Stowers. Moore hits that's Tavy Smith hitting the first free throw. Going up a 2-possession lead, feels massive.
Certainly would. And it's up and good. Tavy Smith, cool, calm, and collected at the free throw line. He's got 13 points for Richwoods. Balanced scoring effort for the Knights. Jackson has 11, Louderman is 6. Newsom has got 9 by my count. Burnside is 8, Quantum is 6. Everybody chipping in. Here's Daquan Brown, almost got the and one. What a play that would have been.
He's had his struggles at the foul line tonight, so got to clutch up and make some big free throws. That and one would have been nice, but any points you can get, got to take them.
Even getting one would get it back to a one-possession game. First one is no good. Brown feels like you got to make this one, or you got to have a big stop. Peoria can ill afford to go down 3 possessions that Brown does get his 21st point of the ball game.
Put a little press on. Soft press, they'll move back. But obviously they want to play like they did defensively in the second half. Just not giving Richwoods many options.
Love has done a great job defending down near the post. And it looks like Taylor will be called for a foul on the jumper. And it looks like there was
double technical. One each way. It looks like player from each side was teed up right there. So I believe those offset, if I'm correct.
Myquise Taylor picked up the personal foul. That's why Newsom is at the line right now. So Taylor joins the 4 foul club for Peoria High. That includes Daquan Brown and LaShawn Stowers. Rather that one will go on. Maybe it was a technical that went on Little, but either way, Little has 5 fouls, and he's out of the ball game now. And Spencer Russell checks in.
And there's still 2 Lions with 4 fouls, so in overtime, late stages of this game, might start dropping off one by one. Just some players got to step up.
Newsom will get 2 at the line on the shooting foul that was originally committed by Little rather than Taylor. Taylor has 2 fouls. Apologize for that error there. The scoreboard showed differently. First one is up and good. Richwoods, a really good free throw shooting team. But that one is no good.
Broadcaster's jinx right there from Jonathan Michael.
Yeah, you got to call it out. Yep. Peoria High, though, an opportunity to get a little bit closer. You don't need a 3 here. Not to sound like every college basketball announcer you see. Daquan Brown out here breaking ankles. How about this matchup with him and Tavy Smith, 2 of the best players in the city. No good. Brown a little bit frustrated there, and now runner 2 minutes to play in Richwoods. Getting a little bit closer to defending the dungeon. They still have work to do. Here's Newsom drawing it in. It's a charge. Eli Love. That's a big play from their senior forward and one that they needed to get possession right back. And the clock is running again and more scoreboard issues.
Myquise Taylor not exactly thrilled with the clock still running. They need every second they can get. Tensions are high though right now.
And Gavin, again, I apologize for so much confusion we've had recently with the scoreboard and everything. It indicates right now that Daquan Brown just picked up his 5th foul, but I believe that's incorrect.
And no, I don't think there was a foul issued at all. Should have just been a clock issue.
Regardless, it still says that there's 5 fouls on Brown. Although he wasn't the guilty party. He didn't pick up a foul in the last place, so he should have 4.
Well, he's in the game, so I'm going to go with he's got 4.
He does have 4. I am 99.9% sure that Daquan Brown only has 4 fouls right now, and he's done a great job of playing discipline to stay in this ball game. Picking up 4 early on. Here's Stowers now. Can he dare another big 3? Oh, not quite. Almost had it, but gets his offensive rebound, and he gets fouled. That's a big opportunity for the Lions because now they're in the double bonus and will shoot 2. with LaShawn Stowers.
You have to make both these free throws. These are so crucial. And even if you split, that'll do the job too. Just got to get it down to one possession. More than enough time to make a stop. Get the ball back and try to score if you're the Lions.
First one up and good. Nice stroke there from LaShawn Stowers, who's got 8. That foul for Richwoods went on Jared Jackson, his 4th. Both teams in the double bonus now. Stowers, he's got that clutch ability. He tied that game with Peoria Notre Dame, in which they lost in that half-court prayer from Jacob Johnson with 6 seconds left. That was his only bucket of the game to that point, but he comes alive in the 4th quarter. He's got 9, and Peoria High now down by just 2. Burnside with it, defended there by Brown. Will he attack him? He will. Contorts his body up and no good. Peoria gets the defensive rebound. It's Myquise Taylor. A huge play from the senior, and now they got numbers. Brown, 3 for the lead, and he's got fouled. That one will go on Tavy Smith, and that may be his 5th. What a huge play for Peoria High, and that drastically switches the momentum as Richwoods, arguably their best player now, has fouled out of the contest, and Peoria High could take the lead.
We're going to see what kind of clutch ability Daquan Brown has. If it's been a question, here's the final test. 3 free throws for the lead, 2 to tie. Oh boy.
Pressure, free throws. First one rattles out. Brown has had his struggles at the line tonight. He is the reason that Peoria is in this game, but he doesn't want to be that Peoria High doesn't win this game either. Still lots of time left though, 54.3 on the clock. Second one is good. I'll try and get our scoreboard cam adjusted here. It's a little bit tough angle, we will admit, here at Richwoods High School, but it is 54.3 on the clock. And Brown's 3rd is up and good. We have a tie ball game again at 62. 4-0 run for the Lions, and boy, they needed it. And the scoreboard is still not showing. There we go. Boy, it's been a tough night for a scoreboard operator here at Richwoods High School, but everybody else has been treated to a great basketball game as Will Smith calls a timeout for Richwoods with 40.5 ticks left here in our first overtime. Could be the first of many if we keep it up at this rate.
It's our 2nd straight overtime game on ClutchSportsIsle.com. We've really been in for some treats here late in January. It's hard to believe it's almost February, John. Some of the best basketball yet to come. Both these teams playing so hard, so much emotion, so much on the line, even just bragging rights. I mean, this is something that these guys will go to school tomorrow, and if you're winners, hold your heads high. Classmates will be proud. If you lose, better luck next time, but it's going to be an exciting finish. This is a possession that, again, with Smith out of the game with 5 fouls, rather Newsom out with 5 fouls.
It is Smith, rather.
It is Smith with 5 fouls.
Newsom is still in the game.
You really got to look for some other options. We saw Louderman come back in. He's hit a couple buckets, but hasn't played much in this ball game. Marlon Herron, the sophomore, in his first appearance, comes in overtime. So Will Smith trying to get some fresh legs in there, some fresh bodies. It's going to come down, though, John. I think it's going to come down to either Greg Burnside or Jared Jackson. One of those two guys is going to have to take a big shot for the Knights.
Inbound does go to Jackson now. Taylor playing defense on him. He's played stupendous defense all night long, and now here's Herron just into the game, and he throws it away. Peoria High looks like they'll hold for the last shot. Daquan Brown walks it up and gets it across the timeline over to LaShawn Stowers. Peoria High had a chance to win it at the end of regulation. They get another chance in overtime, but not before Daniel Ruffin calls the timeout with 13.1 seconds left. Huge turnover there for Peoria High as Marlon Heron, the sophomore who just checked into the game, baptism by fire there, tough environment to get thrown into, and Eli Love, I believe, was the guy that was right there that took it away for Peoria High.
It almost looked like Heron was going to try to drive inside with that one,
yes.
take it up for two. I mean, all props there to the sophomore for being fearless, but don't want to turn the ball over like they did. And now Peoria High a second chance to win the game. And I feel like the more looks you get at game-winning shots, better chance you're going to make one of them. And they've been on the other side of some game winners this year, so I think it would feel good for the Lions to get one back. Certainly, again, Peoria High has lost on 2 buzzer beaters this year, lots of other close losses. Looking to get that big, close win. A lot of their wins have came in, frankly, blowouts. They won by 25 against Dunlap. They won by 24 against Bloomington. They blew out Limestone by 30, so lots of big wins and a couple close losses for the Lions so far this year, and this arguably would be one of their biggest. It'd be their first win against a team that's mentioned in the AP state rankings, Richwoods receiving votes in Class 3A. Here's Stowers with it now with 8 on the clock. Has to get it across. Jared Jackson defending. Here's Taylor, drives the lane, kicks it out. Russell at the buzzer, no good as he fell to the ground. We'll head to a second overtime. We get more basketball. Christmas in January. Holy cow. This has got to be one of the best games that we've seen. 2 games in a row. I mean, we've just been seeing absolutely amazing basketball. If you're just a basketball fan, even if you're a fan of one of these teams, you got to love this. This is one that we're still going to be talking about tomorrow and maybe for the rest of the week, the rest of the season almost. Either way, I can guarantee you one thing is that whoever is going to win this game is going to look back on this as a monumental win when the postseason rolls around, and the other team is going to say, boy, I really wish we would have had that game. But just some high-level basketball being played, and obviously the biggest thing now is foul trouble. Obviously, the second overtime is starting to become a thing. Obviously, Tavy Smith is fouled out for Richwoods. Jared Jackson has 4. On the Peoria side, Daquan Brown and LaShawn Stowers both have 4 as well. So, obviously, you want to lean on your stars, but if one of those guys picks up their 5th, maybe you got to lean on a guy that you're not used to, maybe even a guy off the bench like Nick Louderman, for example, for Richwoods, or Spencer Russell, for example, on Peoria High. Yeah, and even Marlon Heron was in the game, the sophomore for Richwoods. And again, any of these guys that foul out, it really changes the dynamic of this game. So could be a very eventful 4 minutes here as one of these teams will try to come away with the victory. Gavin, I believe this is likely only the second double overtime game that we've seen in Clutch Sports Media history. The other being a triple overtime game. A couple years ago as Greg Burnside gets it to go. Looks like you may have won a call there, but Burnside stepped up to the challenge in the second half. He's got 10. Here's Brown driving the lane. What a feed down low to the big man, Eli Love. That's an example of Daquan Brown making his teammates better. That's what Daniel Ruffin said he's improved the most on since he came back from Limestone. Big assist there, and Peoria High gets the response. Johnson, Euro step, falls out. Quantum, the offensive board. You're here, Richwoods, with another chance, and it's a jump ball that will favor the Lions. Wow, and Jackson nearly had a very pretty Euro step to the basket. That's a tough shot. Really can't take anything away from him from trying to make a nice play right there, but now Peoria High with a chance to go in front. And John, I don't believe Peoria High has held a lead at all since the first quarter. I believe not. They've had it tied, but they haven't taken the lead, and they can now. Brown, he does! Daquan Brown has 25 for Peoria High. Puts his hand down, says he can score down there amongst the trees.
What a game this has been for Daquan Brown, putting the team on his back, fighting back from picking up his 4th foul in the 3rd quarter, staying composed when it matters most and keeping himself in the ball game. He's given the visitors the lead as Richwoods now content to take a little time off the clock here. It's Jackson working with it. First time we've seen Quadam in the game for a little bit. You see what he can do. A nice pass down low to Nehemiah Mason, and it rolls around the rim and out. A heartbreaker of a miss there for the Knights, and now Peoria High can go up by 2 scores.
This would be a huge turn of events for the Lions, who've played behind for most of this game.
Daquan Brown, bucket is waved off because of a travel.
Big break there for Richwoods. Louderman's going to come back in for Quadam. A little offense, defense here. Probably a good idea there by Will Smith. Louderman, one of the team's better 3-point shooters, so I wouldn't be shocked to see him maybe camp out in one of the corners and trying to throw up a 3. He's hit 1 tonight. He was fouled on the 3-point shot, so he's got 6 points. Jackson's going to go quick, though.
Finds Mason down on the baseline, no good. Richwoods wants the call. It was a clean, as the refs say it. Great defense again by Peoria High. Here's Brown now working on Mason. What a ball handler he is, and Richwoods wanted the 5-second call, and their bench is livid. Now 1:15 left to go. Here's Stowers driving the lane, or rather that was Myquise Taylor, rather. Either way, it's a huge bucket for the Lions, who lead by 2 possessions now as we approach 1 minute. Jackson drives in and got fouled there by Taylor. So he'll head to the line with a chance to get it down to 2. But Peoria High has finally broken through the floodgates. Maybe the dam is burst, maybe another way you can say it.
And both coaches right now are just incensed. Daniel Ruffin nearly saw Daquan Brown get a 5-second call, telling him to be smarter than that. On the other side, Will Smith is incensed with the officials. Thought on the last Richwoods possession there was a foul that should have been called. Again, nothing you can do about it now. Your team's just got to be better down this stretch of 1 minute and 4 seconds. Got to make this free throw if you're Jared Jackson to get it down to a 1-possession game.
Jackson missed his first, and Gavin, you make a good point. Obviously, no matter what the ref calls, I think it's been a very evenly called game. I think it's been fair as well. But really the biggest thing is, if your team, can make the plays that they need to, then, the refs don't have to make those calls in the first place. But Richwoods down a possession. They need a turnover or they need to foul and hope for some misses. Jackson made 1 at the line. Dribbling around with it now is Myquise Taylor. 40 seconds now. Brown was trapped in the corner, got rid of it.
They want to foul Brown. He's had some struggles at the line. That's who they're trying to get.
Stowers now is not passing to Brown. Now he does. And they went for it. Mason couldn't foul him. Now there's under 30 seconds left, and Richwoods has got a foul. I'm not sure what they're doing here. Maybe trying to go for a turnover. They almost got it. But you have got to start fouling here soon. Oh, they throw it away. Maybe that's what they were wishing for, and they got it. A huge turnover there for the Lions, and Richwoods could tie it up with a 3. Or they get it down to a 1-point deficit with a 2, which could still be beneficial.
A lot was wrong with that sequence right there. First of all, Richwoods should have fouled much earlier, John. A lot of time wasted, but it works out in their benefit. They're going to get a chance for a 3.
Jackson drives in, goes for the 2, no good. Rebound goes to Moore. Over to Burnside, now with 8. Richwoods needs to get a shot. Who will it be? Burnside, no good. Richwoods called a timeout with 2.8 left, and boy, Gavin, I have got to say, Greg Burnside would have been livid if he would have made that 3, because it wouldn't have counted because of the timeout.
I think Will Smith would have been livid with himself too, but ends up being a good idea. They'll have 2.8 seconds. Clock you see there is just the clock for the timeout. Man, we have seen so many good opportunities. Just speechless, John. This has just been all over the place. This is excellent basketball.
This has undoubtedly been one of the best games of the year on Clutch Sports Media, and we're glad that you've spent it with us. Alongside Gavin Russell and Jonathan Michael, and this has been a dogfight the entire night. Again, Richwoods led 38-22 in the first half after Peoria High took an early lead. The Lions got it close in the third quarter and eventually tied it up right before we went into the first overtime. Lions and Daquan Brown had a chance to win the game in the first overtime. Brown's 2 tries were no good. First try bounced off the rim. Second try couldn't get the shot off. But the way this game has gone, Gavin, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a three-pointer here from Richwoods. I feel like this is the game that might not end. Louderman was open in the corner. Doesn't go to him. Burnside's got to get it in, but he calls another timeout. And Myquise Taylor says that Richwoods doesn't have any more. That should be a technical.
I believe they do. Do they get 2 timeouts, correct, for overtime?
Believe they do. The refs are talking about it now, and what an ending this would be if it would be a technical. We're obviously they're consulting the scorebook right now. Again, the scoreboard is encountering its share of difficulties tonight, so we're not quite sure. Again, I wasn't looking to see how many timeouts they had left.
They did have 1 remaining, it looks like. It must be, as I was aware of, 2 extra timeouts for the overtime period.
Yes.
Peoria High has taken 1, so that would leave them with 1 remaining. Richwoods took their first one prior to taking another one again. Probably the right idea. They probably want to just come out, see what Peoria High was going to do defensively, kind of scout it out, and then now drop the real play. No other option. Got to inbound it and shoot it.
Burnside will inbound for Richwoods. Pretty much needed 3 with 2.8 left, and you're probably only going to get 1 shot at it unless you get a miss and an offensive rebound with a foul. So Burnside will inbound. His options are Javen Moore, Nick Louderman, Nehemiah Mason. There's some of them. Louderman falls to the floor. He goes to Mason. The 3 for the volleyball line. And oh! Nehemiah Mason, ice in the veins. Have you seen a colder shot in your life? Triple overtime in Peoria. Oh my word. Nehemiah Mason just hit the shot of his life. And you get a look at the crowd here in the dungeon. This place is alive. And that's an understatement, Gavin. How about that shot by Nehemiah Mason? Perhaps one of the best that we've seen ever in Clutch Sports Media history.
Put it in the history books. Wow, what a shot there.
What a tough shot. I mean, he caught that ball, was a little off balance as well. That was easily an NBA, that was a deep NBA 3 from the volleyball line. You're gonna see that one on your social media feed tonight. I don't know if I see any TV news people. I don't know if Jim Madsen or Kurt Pegler's here, but that's gotta be one of the most exciting plays of the entire year so far. We are going to triple overtime on Clutch Sports Media between the Peoria High Lions and the Richwoods Knights. And Mason had a wide open bucket and missed it. Go figure. What a game, Gavin. I might not have a voice by the time the clock hits 0. I'll do my best.
I'm still speechless. 3rd overtime. Wow.
68 all in a game that will go down in the history books. Finds Russell. His 3 is no good, but the rebound there by Eli Love. Here's Daquan Brown again, playing with 4 fouls. He has played close to 16 minutes of game time without picking up his 5th foul. Taylor almost stepped out of bounds, gets it up and in, and Peoria High back in the driver's seat, but only for now. What a game this has been, as Jackson might put Richwoods in the lead, no good. And on the offensive board is Burnside, and he gives it away right back to Eli Love, and Peoria High can slow it down now. Boy, at this point, all of these players have just got to be gassed. Triple overtime. It's been a physical game as Brown drives the lane, no good. Moore corrals the rebound for Richwoods.
Got to find that last burst of energy.
And it's up and good. Jared Jackson, he's had a great game for Richwoods, 14 points for the junior guard. He scored 15 against Pekin. We saw that last weekend on Friday. All of his 15 points came in the fourth quarter. Now Love, open bucket down low, and boy, buckets have came easy for the big fella.
And again, you mentioned tired legs. Hard to guard that.
Jackson, his floater is up and good. Back and forth, this game goes on an ever-continuous seesaw. 72 all, exactly halfway through the third overtime. Yeah, and I'd be curious, this has got to be a good chance. And this is one of the longest and perhaps most iconic games in Peoria High and Richwoods history.
This is exactly what we want. This is a game I just don't want to end. I'm sure the players would probably wholeheartedly disagree, but I could watch this go on all night long. Just keeps getting better and better. Instant classic would be an understatement, John.
Nehemiah Mason, wow. That shot was unbelievable. We had seen 2 game-winning attempts at the end of regulation, at the end of overtime. Neither one of them fell, but Mason, the one that forced a second overtime, gives the Knights new life again. 72 all here in the dungeon. No game reset for you again. Both teams in the double bonus. A couple players with 4 fouls. Daquan Brown, LaShawn Stowers, and Jared Jackson for Richwoods. All 3 of those players have done a nice job of playing clean basketball lately. Eli Love is 3 for Peoria High, as does Mike Weiss Taylor and Javen Moore. And what will Peoria High do now?
And Richwoods is going to drop into a 2-1-2 zone. We've seen this at times, kind of just trying to take away that inside game. Peoria High's really been trying to get the ball into the painted area, down into that low post. So a nice strategy there coming out of the timeout from Will Smith.
33 seconds have gone off the clock now before Brown starts to work with it. A little over a minute now. Kicks it back out to Taylor. Gotta wonder if Peoria High is gonna hold for the last shot, perhaps maybe get themselves a little bit of rest. That way, in case you play a 4th overtime, they'd be ready. Taylor, runner no good. Javen Moore the rebound. We approach 1 minute now, and now here comes Richwoods. Jared Jackson working on Stowers. Acrobatic move, no good, almost fell. And Peoria High gets the rebound. That was Stowers with it, and it looks like he might be called, or rather Quadum. It's like an over the back call, a little too aggressive there, trying to get that rebound, and LaShawn Stowers will head to the free throw line. He's got 9 points so far.
You mentioned Stowers hit some clutch shots this year, some big free throws. None bigger than this. 3rd overtime for the lead.
So many opportunities by both squads. Obviously, a couple missed free throws from both teams, missed opportunities as Stowers misses his first there. Lions can still have the lead. If you're Richwoods, Gavin, if Stowers were to miss, would you hold for the final shot?
I would certainly try to.
Good look down low, it'd be hard to pass up. And Stowers goes 0 for 2 at the line. Still knotted at 72. 50 seconds left as Jared Jackson brings it up the court for the Knights. We've played 3 overtimes in the dungeon. Can Richwoods send the home crowd happy, or will Peoria High steal one on the road? Or we could play a fourth overtime.
That wouldn't be such a bad thing, would it?
Would not be. 25 seconds now on the clock, and it looks like they will hold for the last shot. I mean, you might as well. Jackson working on Myquise Taylor, now 18 on the clock. He's got Burnside to his right, Louderman over in the corner, Mason in the near corner, and Javen Moore down low. 10 seconds left now as the crowd comes alive. 6. 5 now. He's got to go. Burnside. Can he win it? No! 4 overtimes. Greg Burnside misses a 3 at the end of the third overtime. And we have played, I gotta do the math, Gavin. 4 quarters is 32 minutes, plus another 12, so 44. We're gonna play 48 minutes of basketball here tonight. All right, and we are back. We are back. Thank you, folks, for sticking with us again. Having some internet issues here at Richwoods High School, but we were able to get it fixed. In the meantime, didn't miss any scoring. Daquan Brown just put in that free throw there for Peoria High. Yeah, not sure if anybody, our viewers, experienced any disruptions there on coverage, but we are back. Quadruple overtime here in the Dungeon, and the most unbelievable basketball game you've ever seen. At least one of them. It's got to be up there for me, I got to say, Gavin.
This has been nothing short of amazing. And while we were gone fixing the internet, Jared Jackson fouled out with 5. So Jackson is out.
Somebody's got to step up for Richwoods. Tavy Smith has fouled out, as has Jared Jackson.
If this game goes
and
long enough,
like, I believe Markel Newsom has also fouled out for the Knights as well.
If this game goes long enough, maybe we'll just get a rematch of the JV game. If we get to our 8th or 9th overtime, who knows?
Well, the period here on the Richwoods scoreboard, it says period. Obviously, they don't have OT, so it says 8. We're in the 8th period right now. So,
and I got something remarkable. Daquan Brown has had 4 fouls since the third quarter and has managed not to pick up that 5th foul. So, really locked in, playing discipline these last few minutes.
He's got 26 for Peoria High. Marlon Heron missed both free throws for Richwoods. Big missed opportunity there. Could it be a 3 from Stowers? No, he shot faked.
Probably a good idea. Choose some more clock. Get yourself a better look.
Stowers almost crossed up Burnside there. He kind of did. Taylor, oh, you thought about the 3. And Peoria High calls a timeout. Probably a smart decision there. Just want to do what you got to do to stay in control with a little over 2 minutes left and the lead, albeit a very small one.
This is going to be interesting to see what Daniel Ruffin draws up coming out of the timeout. They had a couple of looks. Stowers could have pulled from 3, although it would have been deep. Probably not a great shot. Myquise Taylor could have pulled from the corner. They decide to back out with it and call the timeout. They'll have 1 remaining. Again, instant classic, 4th overtime if you've just joined us. And John, I kind of can't help but think about, which I don't even know what overtime it was at this point, and they're all kind of meshing together. Peoria High, if they would have held on to the ball, would have a chance to run out the clock or go to the free throw line to potentially ice the game. They turned it over, leading to a miracle 3-pointer from beyond the volleyball line.
That would have been the second overtime.
Second overtime. Again, as they all kind of just mesh together at this point. All I know is I don't want it to end. Keep the basketball coming.
quadruple overtime here in Richwoods. Boy, I didn't think that would happen when I walked in the doors of this high school tonight, but I'm certainly glad that it has happened. And Burnside picks up a foul there on the inbounds for Richwoods. That's just his second, so he's played a good, clean ball game. Some good buckets down low, and he's put in yeoman's work getting some rebounds, but that will send, I believe, Stowers to the line for Peoria High.
Stowers has been very good at the line tonight. He'll have a chance to make this a 3-point game.
First one is up and good. Stowers now in the double-digit club with 10. As Louderman checks in for Tyrese Carter on Richwood. So, yeah, the nice guards, a couple of them have fouled out. They're rolling with Javen Moore, Greg Burnside, Nehemiah Mason, Marlon Herron, and Nick Louderman right now.
2-point game, free throws costly, so a chance to tie with a 2.
Here's Herron on the drive, and that one will be called on the floor on Spencer Russell. That'll be his second foul, I believe. So that will send Herron to the line. Missed 2 on his last trip.
Herron will get 2 shots, well into the double bonus by the 4th overtime.
That one, kind of a knee knocker there. So it hit the rim, but it's far enough down, it goes down. So Marlon Herron with his first point of the game. Second one is no good. So Peoria High is still holding a 1-point lead.
They're not going to be in a rush, John. Take your time, get a good look. Still move the ball, try to get a bucket, but don't be in a hurry.
Stowers with it now for Peoria High as we approach the 92nd mark of this 4th overtime. Kicks it out back out to Myquise Taylor. He drives the lane, finds Love, and gets hit by Moore and finishes through contact. Eli Love has got 12, and he's been a huge presence, both figuratively and literally, for Peoria High tonight. Burnside a 3, that would have been huge. No good, Peoria High gets the rebound. It's been one of the best positions they've been in so far since we've ended regulation, but can't turn it over here.
Feels like their game to lose.
Brown driving in, sides better of it. Takes some time off the clock. And Richwoods get that huge turnover. Oh, Brown fell to the ground. Here comes Richwoods. Can they get a bucket? Tyrese Carter's layup is no good. Javen Moore fell on the ground and there was no call. Jump ball, and that will favor Richwoods. And Daquan Brown is hurt. That's not a sight you want to see for Peoria High, and he's in a lot of pain. Oh, what a...
Brown is down, favoring the right leg. Scary sight right there. Gotta hope this is just a cramp or something. Trainer out there working on him, but he's definitely in some considerable pain.
Brown's being held to his feet right now. He's still having trouble putting weight on that leg. It's certainly not a sight you want to see, and he's played such a great basketball game. His teammates there helping him back to the bench, so unless it's a really bad cramp, you got to assume that maybe he could come back and play again. We don't know what is up with Daquan Brown.
But he's got to be gassed, too.
Yeah, certainly. I'm sure that he has carried this team on his back. He's been running up and down the court all night, pushing the pace. Certainly hope he's okay. Wishing our best to Daquan Brown for Peoria High. He'll exit with 26 points and 4 fouls. He's getting some water there on the sidelines. May just be a cramp, so we'll see. Peoria High will have to deal without him, though. Richwoods, a chance to tie it up or get within 1 point. Louderman, a deep 3. Oh! Richwoods, a deep 3 again. And this basketball game is tied. Myquise Taylor can't believe it. And he's chewing out his teammate Spencer Russell saying, how'd you leave him open? But That's just a better shot more than anything. What can you do? You don't expect Louderman to pull that. He does, and he makes it. The story of this ball game. 76 all.
Clutch. That's all I can say.
I can only laugh at this point. This is amazing.
Could not have asked for a better game. Wow.
And Nick Louderman.
And the clutch shots that we've seen, John, I mean, I don't think I've seen this many just timely buckets in one game ever.
No.
I've seen so many great
at
games.
any level.
No.
I will say at any level. High school, college, pros, doesn't matter.
This is some, I'll make an NBA comparison. How about that? DeMar DeRozan hitting some timely buckets for the Chicago Bulls the last couple of years. That's what they're playing like tonight.
This has been one of the best basketball games I've been to since, I won't get into all the details, I'll be here all night, but if you watch the basketball tournament, TBT as it's called, the Bradley alumni team, always a Brave, 2 years ago playing a first round game against the Chicago Hoopville Warriors. Obviously that is a little bit of a different format to get the Elam ending, so the game ends on when a team hits a certain score, so it's quite different than, you know, when you're playing timed basketball as we are right now, obviously. And you know, some of you, at home might know what I'm talking about. If not, certainly go ahead and look at highlights of that game. Always a Brave and Chicago Hoopville Warriors. One of the craziest basketball games you've ever seen. Besides this one here, 20 seconds left and Peoria High has the ball. They'll hold for the last shot for sure. It's Stowers with it. And the Lions have got to get a bucket. Otherwise, we'll go to a fifth overtime, and Daniel Ruffin will call the first of his 2 timeouts that he has here in overtime with 11.1 seconds to go.
And how about, you talk about the always brave TBT team from a couple of years ago. Daniel Ruffin was a part of that. He was a coach.
He was the coach.
He's been a part of that always a brave team that's played several years in the basketball tournament. The TBT player was a coach, so he knows a thing or two about clutch performances. Played again with Bradley University, went to the Sweet 16. He's been part of some huge games. Will Smith on the other side has coached in many huge games.
He's in his 13th season, and this is probably got to be one that he remembers for sure. I think he'll remember this one 13 seasons later as well, especially with it coming against your crosstown rival, your conference rival. Last time you're going to see these Lions, if you're Richwoods, in the regular season. Both these teams are in the Galesburg sectional, so we could get a Peoria High Richwoods Part 3 in the postseason.
Which that would be something else.
We would have to be there.
Oh, no doubt about it.
That would be a game for the ages. But the Lions have 11.1 seconds left to go and a chance to win the ball game. Inbound goes to LaShawn Stowers. Now with 7 left on the clock. It's do or die. It's Taylor. Struggles to get a hold of it. Stowers can get it off. No! 5 overtimes. Quintuple overtime. LaShawn Stowers, admirable look, a little off balance. He can make those shots for sure. He is a shooter, but that was a tough one. You kind of wanted to see it go down for the sheer reaction, what you would see in this gym, but you also kind of didn't, because that means we get 4 more minutes of basketball. 5 overtimes.
Just dumbfounded right now. Absolutely dumbfounded. This has got to be the longest game in Clutch Sports Media history. Holy cow.
It certainly is. We had our first year that we did video series, we had a triple overtime game between the girls teams of Dunlap and Metamora. That was a heck of a basketball game. We have never seen quintuple overtime. Gavin, I got to take a quick break. I want to shout out all of our crew that's sticking it out through the longest game in Clutch Sports Media history, at least by basketball standards. Our camera operators, Patrick Huber and Teddy Ball, our producer, Owen Dimple at the 6, and our director, Brock Salo, doing a great job tonight again. We're glad that you're with us here, and Francisco Alonso taking some pictures and social media updates as well. Glad you're with us here as Nehemiah Mason gets things going right off the bat with a layup. That's how you want to start things off. Glad you're with us here on Clutch Sports Media, despite some technical difficulties we had earlier with the internet, and also some sound issues in the early going, but it's been all worth it in the end. Hope it has been for you too.
Daquan Brown is back out there, so.
3 ball from Deontay. Man is no good, but Stowers gets the rebound. Turns around and it's good. Big bucket there for Stowers. Boy, whenever the Lions have needed a bucket, it's always been Stowers and Little in the last couple overtimes. Or Love, I should say.
Just score at will almost.
78 all as this one is tipped out. It'll stick with Richwoods. I just can't believe that we are in quintuple overtime, Gavin. Unbelievable. Here's Mason with it now, working on Daquan Brown. And his bucket went in and out. Well, I started to think that bucket there on the left side is rims might be a little bit tighter. A couple tough looks have fallen right off the rim down there as Richwoods comes away with a huge turnover. Mason with it now. He's relying on him for some big minutes. Tavy Smith, Marquell Newsom, and Jared Jackson all fouled out for Richwoods. Here's Burnside, elevates. No good. How about the rebound from Javen Moore? Gets big down low, but Eli Love is called for the foul. That'll be his 4th, so he can still play in the game. But it will send Javen Moore to the charity stripe.
Wow. That looked, it was close to a clean block, maybe a bit of a body bump right there. Now Moore's got to make him at the stripe, got to earn him.
That one no good, but Gavin, at this point in the game, you can't, obviously it's so easy to sit up here and say you got to make your free throws in these clutch moments, but these players have played basketball for over 50 or close to 50 minutes now. We're approaching the 50th minute of gameplay, and their legs are gassed.
And absolutely no way I can make any of these free throws. Just from
Certainly
the
not
standpoint of how clutch they are, I don't got that gene. These players do, though.
Nehemiah Mason does. And his shot there, no good. Deontay Mann, and now here comes Tyrese Carter, giving it now to Mason for Richwoods. 78 all as we approach the halfway mark of the 5th overtime. Game of the year in the Peoria area. Under 2 minutes, Richwoods chewing some clock.
Marlon Heron's just going to hold, and I'm not going to say they're going to hold it for 2 minutes, but I mean, they're going to see what they can get away with here. And no point in rushing. A lot of tired legs. Everybody's going to be content with a breather.
Heron's starting to work a little bit more quickly now. Here's Burnside, drives the lane. Euro step up and good. Great Burnside lays it in to the elation of the Richwoods faithful. They now lead by 2 with under 90 seconds to play in the dungeon.
They go to a 2-3 zone, something we haven't seen a lot of tonight. See if Peoria High can figure it out.
Tired legs, it's tough to play man at this point. We'll see if Lions can exploit it. Brown trying to draw the foul, and Taylor wasn't ready for it, but it was actually deflected. Boy, everything happened so quickly, Gavin. I thought that was not tipped, but turns out it was, so Peoria High gets a second breath.
Get a break right there. Timeout, Daniel Ruffin. Dangerously close to turning it over, and we just go back to talking about if 1 or 2 things changes, you hit 1 more free throw, don't turn the ball over. I mean, there's so many what ifs.
I can't even remember all the what ifs if I'm being honest.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch and take some notes, but all I know is we've gotten to our point for 5 overtimes. Shocking. And I'm genuinely curious. This is something that I don't even know how I would research, but longest overtime played by these respective programs all time. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to say you're getting up to that point.
Certainly, I mean, 5 overtimes, maybe once. I mean, maybe one of these schools have maybe played 1 or 2 5 overtime games in their entire school's history, but it would have to come against, obviously, your respective opponent. So, be pretty comfortable saying that this is likely the longest game between these 2 teams and in series history.
In our history books, it will be.
Certainly, and both these teams have had chances to win the game. Peoria High has had a couple. Richwoods, they had a last shot attempt. Nehemiah Mason made it. So the Lions have had their opportunities, but Richwoods is the one with the lead right now. Peoria High needs a bucket, and they get a turnover. Here comes Richwoods. Mason, no good. I don't know if that dunk will count. Looks like there was a foul there on the floor. That'll still get the crowd riled up. But a huge takeaway on the inbounds pass there by Nia, or rather that was Marlon Herron. Marlon Herron, a huge play for Richwoods. And he's struggled for the line. He's gone 1 for 4, but these would be the biggest ones so far. Lots of pressure on the sophomore.
If he can make both of these, they're going to be in a very good spot. Even one shot does you a lot of good. First one, no good. The door is just going to stay open. And really, this is the thing. All these overtimes, neither of these teams have pulled away.
No, there's been 4-0 scoring runs as Herron, gets his second to go. So a 3-point lead now. Will Peoria High go for the 3 or for the easy bucket?
Brown wants the 3. Got to take what you can get, though.
Mason wants Brown to challenge him. Says, step right up. Come at me. Tyler drives the lane, finds Brown. 3, no good. Had a good look, though. That's what you wanted. Now Peoria High has got a foul, and they got to come away with a quick turnover. And get it across the timeline over to Burnside. Approaching 30 seconds left, and Taylor gets the foul. That'll be his 4th personal foul, and that will send Greg Burnside to the line. Not the guy you want to see at the stripe if you're Peoria High. Burnside, a very composed guy. He's very good at his free throws, but after 5 overtimes, we'll see if that's still the case. First one rolls in.
And if he can get this second one, it's going to be very difficult for Peoria High to come up with something. This is where you want to be at if you're Richwoods.
Daniel Ruffin told me that in their comeback for Always a Brave, their thing was stopping a bucket, stopping a bucket. Here they need a bucket and a stop. Taylor, can you get the bucket? No. Rebound, also no. Burnside with it and turns it over. Brown 3 in the corner. Love up with it and good. Big bucket for Eli Love, and now with the deficit's just 2. Did he get fouled as well?
He did, and 1.
I didn't even see the foul call. Eli Love with a chance to make it a 1-point game. What a huge play from the senior forward who's got 14 and probably almost just as many rebounds too for Peoria High.
If he can get the free throw, then you're going to be fouling, and then there's going to be an opportunity.
It's up and no good. Big rebound there for Richwoods. It's Burnside. Maybe he'll try and get a turnover in the backcourt, but no one was there on Herron. Got to foul quick. Man, trying to foul him and can't. And finally does with 10.4 left. And the Lions trailing. Rather, it was a foul. Richwoods called a timeout. So many whistles in this game, so much going on. Didn't quite see exactly what the whistle was for. But Richwoods called a timeout, so there was no foul there on Deontay Mann. And if you're Richwoods, you're probably drawing up a play to play keep away in essence.
You really have to, but at the same time, like Peoria High shot themselves in the foot earlier in overtimes, plural, they turned it over with an opportunity to possibly ice the game, so don't want to make a costly pass. They're out of timeouts, so they can't afford a 5-second call. Nothing to bail them out in that regard, and if they get the ball in bounds, you're fouling immediately. Ideally, Peoria High would like to see maybe Marlon Herron shoot these free throws, as he's had his struggles tonight. Make the sophomore step up.
Herron's been 2 for 6 at the line. Players you don't want to foul, you probably don't want to foul Louderman, and you probably don't want to foul Burnside. Anybody else, though, can maybe foul and maybe hope for a miss. But Peoria High, maybe they'll come away with a turnover on the inbound, just like Richwoods did to them a couple minutes ago. Gets it in there to Nehemiah Mason, and Deontay Mann fouls him. Just 1.1 seconds come off the clock. So 9.3 left, and the door would almost be shut, almost, for Peoria High if Mason can knock down both of these, shooting 2 at the line.
See what he can do.
In his home gym, but still hearing boos from the Peoria High crowd. They've shown out tonight. First one, back iron, no good. And Richwoods, they've sent all 4 of their players back, so Peoria High is going to get the rebound here unless Mason grabs it on a miracle. And they'll have a chance to at least tie the game with a make or win it if he misses. That doesn't hit anything. Mason airballed the second free throw. That's his tired legs right there, Gavin. You got to feel for him. Peoria High could send this to sextuple overtimes with a bucket here or send us home. Instead, they'll send it into a timeout. Daquan Brown calls it. 7.6 seconds left to go. That's enough time, Gavin, that you can get 2 shots off, make an offensive rebound and a putback. Eli Love is still in the game. He's the biggest guy on the floor.
I think if I'm Peoria High, whether you take a 2 or a 3, you shoot it within a couple seconds. That way, if a rebound does come down, there's still enough time to foul. If they do foul, it obviously leaves the door open. If there's a missed free throw somewhere, Peoria High could come back down the court and score. Again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself with all these scenarios. But obviously, if you shoot, the quicker you shoot, the more opportunity it leaves you. And I think you need all the opportunities you can get if you're the Lions.
Certainly, in 7.6, lots of time to work some magic. They worked it at the end of regulation. And in a couple overtimes as well. There's been multiple times where it seems like, oh, this is going to be the last overtime. Either Richwoods has momentum or Peoria High has momentum, but just the back and forth battle between these teams has been of epic proportions. Brown will inbound it for Peoria High. Gets it into Spencer Russell. Love sets the screen for Brown, trying to get him open. 3 on the clock. Got to get a shot off. Man, he's sinking. He's sinking, but they wave out the bucket because of a travel. That would have been the bucket of the game if Man didn't travel. What a shot that he made, but he walked with it. And only 1.4 seconds left on the clock. Peoria High's got to foul quick. They do. Time expires. It's at the end of the game. We're waiting for the officials' call. They leave the court. Peoria Richwoods wins the basketball game 82-80 in quintuple overtime. Heartbreak for the Peoria High Lions, who could have won the game, but Deontay Mann was called for the travel and the three-pointer did not count. An absolutely gutting way to win for the, gutting way to lose for the Lions. And what a win for the Richwoods Knights. They celebrate there with their student section after perhaps the longest basketball game that they will ever play in their high school careers.
Speechless.
What a contest. Wow. Peoria High, they had their chances. Richwoods had a couple chances as well. They missed some free throws. And they had a couple shots that could have gone in and didn't. Nehemiah Mason did a great job of hitting that 3 to force, I believe it was triple overtime. Gave him extra life. If he didn't make that, Richwoods wouldn't be here. And then down the stretch, they were able to make their free throws, get the buckets to go, and play solid defense on the other end. That last possession, that was great defense there from the Knights because they forced Mann into a really tough look. And he had a defender right in his grill and probably was thinking maybe too many things at the same time, kind of panicked and traveled again. I didn't really see his feet.
He kind of just jumped right there. He wasn't really sure if he wanted to shoot it or give it away, and just kind of an afterthought. I mean, got to imagine that's a really tough situation to be in and to think about, but unbelievable game. Instant classic, Jonathan Michael. I don't know I've ever seen a better game in this fashion, at least. We've seen some great comebacks, seen some great performances, but in a toe-to-toe close battle like this takes the cake.
Unbelievable basketball in the Big 12, and a finish, one of the best finishes that you might see in decades in the city of Peoria. What a battle this was, and we're not even in the playoffs yet. Can't really picture a more iconic basketball game if you're still in the regular season. Richwoods Knights advanced to 17-3 on the year, 5-2. Conference play, Peoria High will fall to 11-9. Again, a really tough loss for the Lions, who they found themselves in a lot of close games, and if they can find the way to pull out those close games, they're going to be really dangerous in the playoffs. It's a team that's a lot skilled on their team, and can't wait to see where these teams go the rest of the year.
That is gut-wrenching for the Lions and for their fans. You know, they brought so much support here. Not even their home gym, just made a short trip over, but what a ball game, and they played their hearts out. Again, it just came down to a couple mistakes, and both teams made them, right? You know, there's things both teams are going to take away. They need to clean up, just get outlasted on the road, but they are so close, as you mentioned. They are right there. If they turn that corner, they will play with anybody.
Certainly, and coming up for both of these teams next, Peoria High, another big Big 12 matchup coming against Normal Community. That is at the Lions Den on Friday. Then the next day, they'll head down the hill and go to the Manual Shootout, but they're not playing Manual. They're playing one of the best teams in the area in Metamora. That's going to be a big game to watch for the Lions. Maybe a possible chance for them to avenge this loss. Maybe forget about that. A winning over Community would be big as well. And then a week from now, they bring in a guest from the Central State 8. The Lanphier Lions come up to the Lions Den. So it'll be Lions against Lions in Peoria next Tuesday. That'll be a good game as well. Lanphier, very skilled team as well. As for Richwoods, they will head down to Champaign Centennial on Friday. They'll also be at the Manual Shootout on Saturday, playing against Decatur MacArthur, number 2 team in the state in Class 3A. So a huge test coming up for Coach William Smith and the Knights. And then on February 3rd, they will host Champaign Central. So, yeah, I've been trying to wrap up this game. It's almost impossible for me. There's so many things that happened. The big three from Mason, the play of Daquan Brown, who had a game-high 26. Peoria Richwoods, they were led, I believe, by Jared Jackson, 16. Again, those are unofficial numbers. We will confirm it, but they got great contributions from everybody, and they stepped up even when Tavy Smith, Jared Jackson, and Markel Newsom all fouled out. Peoria High was right there with them, though, and had tremendous responses to any punch that Richwoods had.
Oh, man, it was just so back and forth. Neither team really pulled away, and it was just up for grabs. Not a lot I can say to do it justice, John. You'll just have to go back and rewatch it. The beauty of the stream. Check out all of it for free, clutchsportsout.com, Clutch Sports Media on YouTube. Go back, rewatch those big three-pointers and things. I'm sure we'll have some additional highlights for you in the coming hours and next couple days on our social media feeds. But go check it out. If you didn't get to see the whole thing, definitely worth your time to rewatch. Although it was 5 overtime game, worth every single second, and so happy to spend it with you guys this evening.
Certainly, it's been a battle for the ages in Peoria. Richwoods Knights come out ahead 82-80. So again, I want to reiterate, go back and watch our stream again. That's got to be one of the most incredible basketball games that you'll ever see, and you can watch it on demand on Clutch Sports Media's YouTube channel. And I want to thank all of our viewers that spent time with us here tonight and have spent the last 2.5 hours, the whole time we've been on air, maybe even for part of it. Maybe you saw our Twitter updates and decided to tune in, and we hope that you're treated well. And I gotta say, hope you guys had a lot of fun watching this, because I did as well. We're glad everybody stuck with us through our technical difficulties again. Crazy gym, lots of people here. The internet went out and everything. The sound wasn't working in the early going. Again, we'll obviously do the best we can to fix those issues going forward. But either way, no matter how you slice it, no matter how you watch tonight, whether it was on ClutchSportsIL.com or CIProud.com, tonight was one of the best basketball games you'll ever see. at the high school level. Richwoods wins 82-80. A big word for all of our Color Sports Media crew, our camera operators Patrick Huber and Teddy Ball, our social media operator and photographer Paco Alonso, our videographer Kenny Clifton, who will have a heck of a highlight video coming on our social media coming soon. Our producer Owen Dimful, director Brock Stoller, and my broadcast partner Gavin Russell. I'm Jonathan Michael saying so long from Richwoods after 2.5 hours. The Knights defend the dungeon in quintuple overtime, 82-80. So long, folks, and take care.